Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar called Gmail Deliverability Masterclass on how to properly send emails to Gmail, how to send your email campaigns to Gmail, what are the best practices, and so it's 10 o'clock, so I think we can start our presentation now. Okay. So the first question that we have to answer is, why is Gmail actually the topic of today's webinar? And to better show you, I will show you the statistics. And as for now, Gmail is the second email provider used around the world. In the first place, it's still Apple Mail, but Gmail is approaching the second place. Now around 25% of inboxes are made in Gmail.com domain. It's around 2.5 billion users around the world, so a lot. This is why it is important to properly send emails to Gmail, because Gmail is the provider that our contact basis consists of the most. So yes, we can go further, and sending emails to Gmail comes with a lot of challenges, and those challenges can be and are actually first and foremost to adjust your mailing to the rules that were made by them last year in February, in June, new requirements, new approach to the incoming emails to Gmail.com, inboxes to their servers, and the new requirements are mainly mandatory domain authentication. It's SPF, it's DKIM. They used to be nice to have, then they were must have, and now the additional authentication that is must have is DMARC, and DMARC must be set to at least P NaN policy, which is a neutral policy that allows you to receive reports about the emails that are not properly authenticated, but they are not actually properly preventing your domain from being used for phishing. For that, you should use reject or quarantine policy. Other than that, monitoring spam complaints levels, which is easy by using the Google Postmaster tool, which we are going to discuss next. The spam complaint level must not be more than 0.3%, and the ideal level is 0.1% for the spam complaint. The next requirement was reaching the domain alignment, and we will show it better later with a graph. But domain alignment means that your from domain should be the same or should be a subdomain in the return path address, in the DKIM record or SPF record. And another requirement is the implementation of one-click unsubscribe header, which allows your recipients to properly and quickly unsubscribe from your mailing without being redirected to any additional web pages. And one-click unsubscribe is a requirement that the lack of it is not going to cause your emails to bounce, but it is indirectly responsible for your reputation as an email sender. And another challenge, quite connected with what we just said, is using Google Postmaster's tool to analyze your sendings, to analyze if you're properly authenticated, to analyze the spam complaint level. And Google Postmaster allows the users to analyze if the spam complaint level is on an appropriate level. And domain IP reputation, feedback loops, and actually in the new Google Postmaster panel, you can also see if during a certain amount of time you are properly authenticated by SPF and DMARC. Yes, and what you can see on this slide is actually the compliance status, and that's what I just said. The new Postmaster Google panel allows you to see this compliance dashboard, and on the compliance dashboard you can see if you're properly authenticated, if you have a DMARC authentication, do you have one-click unsubscribe headers? And in the future, they will also check if you are honoring the unsubscribe. So if your recipients are unsubscribing from your mailing, if you're honoring their desire not to receive emails from you anymore. Another challenge is a proper contact base and contact list segmentation and hygiene. The senders not always have the means to properly segment and hygiene their contact list. It depends on the sending program that you are using or another software that you are using to collect your contacts, to create your emails. But it is very important not to send emails anymore to contacts that, for example, unsubscribed from them, that are not longer active, that are not interacting in any way with your mailing, and to only send your emails to the recipients that are actually engaged, that are opening your emails, clicking on the links that are inserted in the email body, and so on. Another challenge is not suddenly increasing your email volume while sending, and we see it very often. Sometimes your contact base just randomly increases overnight, and you just want to send your newsletter to all of your recipients, but it actually means that you have to increase your volume of your sending from, for example, 1,000 to 50,000, and this can be disastrous if not properly warmed up, and if Gmail servers see that your volume increases suddenly, it is not like you to send that many emails. The email sending pattern changes. They may think that it's suspicious. They may think that you're a suspicious sender, and for example, block your mailing or defer it temporarily. So it is important to be prepared, to prepare your mailings, to warm up your sendings across some time, not to change the volume suddenly. What you can see on the slide is a table. It's an example table of a warm-up process. We really advise you to warm up your sendings, not to send a lot of emails suddenly after sending only a little. Yes. Okay. Something more about Gmail itself. So Gmail obviously evolved from 2004 when it was created. And as for now, the users are able to use the tabs. They can disable the tabs, but the tabs consist of primary, promotions, social, and updates. And in the primary tab, the users usually get the emails from their contact list or the emails that they previously interacted with a lot. If they, for example, start the email or they opened it frequently, it may be moved to the primary tab, or if they moved it manually, because they can do that. In the promotions tab, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a tab with newsletters, with offers, with discounts, and such. In the social tab, you can see mainly emails coming from the social apps like Facebook or Twitter or even LinkedIn, with some notifications. And in updates, it's also notifications, but more like invoices, more emails, more transactional emails with password reset links, registration, and tickets, for example, travel. And we can say more about how the spam filter works. Obviously, it is not like common knowledge how exactly the spam filters work, but Gmail uses AI to do it, to filter emails. They use machine learning to do it. They scan the email content, the topic, the subject, the links that are inserted in the email content to see if there's no risk of phishing. Also, the attachments, they scan the emails for malware, but then they also see how the users previously interacted with the emails coming from a certain sender. And based on that, they are placing the email in a tab that they think is correct for them. So yeah, this is what we just said. Yeah, historical data and spam filters. The historical data is important when we are talking about the machine learning because yes, this is also how the receiving servers know where should they put the email in your email inbox. If you previously in the past interacted with some senders mailing in a positive way, it has more chance to be correctly classified, to be correctly put in a correct tab in the inbox. And when we are speaking about recipient interaction with email, we can see positive reaction and obviously negative reaction. And what we want with our emails is obviously only positive reaction and positive interaction. And that consists of opening the emails, marking them with the star, clicking on the links, and manually moving them to the primary folder. And negative reaction, the opposite, deleting without reading, marking them as spam, manually moving them to the spam folder, reporting phishing. That's just the examples. And yeah, so how do we adjust? How do we prepare for sending emails to Gmail as a provider? So first we have to somehow monitor the reputation of our IP address that we are using for sending and for the front domain that we are using for sending. And sometimes the providers see us as a sender connecting the IP reputation to the domain reputation. That's also what you should know. And the tools that you can use to monitor either IP or domain reputation that you are using to send is mainly Google Postmasters tool that we mentioned earlier. That is one of the challenges. And this gives you the means to monitor IP reputation, monitor domain reputation, and spam complaints level, among other things, but in case of the reputation, those are the most important factors. What you can see on the slide is an example of a graph, and it's actually a graph for the IP reputation. What you do while logging to the Postmaster tools and choosing IP reputation, you choose the time frame, and then you can see the graph below. And yes, you have different colors, and different colors indicate different reputation from high to bad. If you click on one of the colors below the graph, you will see the list of IPs that were used to send and have a certain reputation. And the same goes for the domain reputation. It can be rated from high to bad and change in time. It's a fluid factor. Another tool that you can use if you are a client of Email Labs is Blacklist, and Blacklist is a place when we are putting all of the email addresses that received hard bounces, but also the ones that unsubscribed from your mailing or mark your email as spam, but only for other providers than Gmail. It is important to export this list, to use it, to filter it on your site, to see which recipients are not active anymore, and just delete them from your contact list, because there's no point to send. There's no point to sending to emails that are not existing anymore or that are not active, because the providers see that you are trying to reach them and they're lowering your score. Another tool is a mail checker tool. Mail checker or mail tester is a tool to test your emails. What you can do with it is take the email address from the field send email to, send your test email to it, and then generate the report by clicking on check output. Sorry. Then you will see the test results, and there you can see how are the headers, how are the email headers, how is the body of the email, how are the links if they are working, also if the IP or domain that you use to send is listed somewhere on a blacklist. And we have sender score, and sender score can be used to check your domains or IP addresses reputation. It scores from 0 to around 100, sometimes even more than 100. And it also checks if the IP address is listed anywhere on a blacklist, on a global blacklist. It also checks if there were any complaints, spam complaints, and unsubscribes, and gives you a factor. It ranges from low to medium to high, but it doesn't really say which provider provided the information, but it is also a good tool to monitor the volume and the reputation of your sendings, for example, in a previous month or in another time frame. Okay, we should talk more about the requirements that were made last year in February regarding the incoming emails by Gmail and also Yahoo, but we are talking about Gmail here. And what your emails must be now is to be authenticated by SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. DMARC is now must have in at least PNON, so neutral policy. Other thing is domain alignment, and what you can see in the example, our from address is hello@yourdomain.com, and the same domain or the subdomain must be also in the return path address and in your DKIM signature, and also the domain that is used in the from address must be properly authenticated by SPF. And on another slide, you will see what is happening now if the alignment is not met. So if you open the original message in Gmail, you can do it by clicking the three dots on the right side on the same level as the sender name and clicking original message. You will be redirected to another page where you will see the message headers that are below. It's this wall of text, and above you will see this summary. You can say message ID, from address to address, obviously subject, SPF, DKIM if they pass or fail, also DMARC if it's there, if it's authenticated by DMARC, and now also alignment. If the domains are not aligned properly, this warning will show. So it is another mean actually to test your emails before sending them in a big volume to your recipients. You can always check if everything is all right by just sending it to your test Gmail inbox, opening the original message and seeing how the headers are, what is the state of the headers and of the alignment. Another requirement is not being above 0.3% spam complaint level. In Google Postmaster, it's user-reported spam, and you will see in the next slides that Google Postmaster actually updated their interface, their panel, and it's easier to spot if you are above the 0.3%. But the requirement is not to be more than 0.3% spam complaints, and actually the level that is the best and that you should stay on is 0.1% of spam complaints. And another requirement that we also previously mentioned is having one-click unsubscribe option for your recipients to unsubscribe from your emails. And what you need to do there is having two new email headers, list unsubscribe and list unsubscribe post. In the first one, you need to place either a URL that the unsubscribes are going to be directed to, the information about your recipients unsubscribing, or the email address, or both. And list unsubscribe post header must be set to list unsubscribe one click, so that the button shown on the picture below will let your recipients unsubscribe only in one click. So they are not redirected to any other page because in the past and now, one of the ways to unsubscribe from the mailing was to place a button in the email content. It was usually somewhere on the bottom of the page, not really visible well to the recipients. And this is obviously the easier way and quicker way because it doesn't require the recipients to go to another page, maybe fill in some poll, maybe log into the account, and it just saves them time. And what it also gives, not only to the recipients, is a way to the senders to not being marked as spam by recipients. Because if it is frustrating to unsubscribe from your mailing, then the recipients are more inclined to mark it as spam. So it is a better way to just give them the mean to do it quicker and easier, to respect their wish not to receive your emails anymore, and thus preventing them from marking your emails as spam, and in consequence, lowering your reputation as a sender. Yes. So we talked previously about one of the challenges and one of the ways to monitor your IP and domain reputation being a Google Postmaster tools. So now we will talk more about what Google Postmaster tools actually is. It is a free of charge tool provided obviously by Google, and you just have to create an account and add your domain there. First, a DNS record will be generated. It's either TXT or CNAME. It must be added to your domain's DNS. Then you will have access to the data about your domain in the user interface in the system. And the data that you will be able to see is domain reputation, mainly IP reputation, user spam rate, spam complaint level. Also, if you are interested in it, if your sendings were properly authenticated by TLS, if they were properly authenticated by SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, the feedback loops if you are using them. And delivery errors. Sorry. Delivery errors being, for example, deferrals, if Gmail somehow limited your sendings. And this is the difference now between the old user interface and the new user interface. Both of them are still available for the users, so don't worry. The one that is on the right is just the new version that you can access from the front page. It is available as a tab next to the compliance status that I showed you before. Now I think it is easier to see if you are exceeding the spam rate limit that is preferable by Gmail. Because on the graph on the right, you can actually see the lines. The red line is 0.3 and the yellow, I think, line is 0.1. And it shows you when exactly did you exceed that, and how much more spam complaints did you receive in percent units. Now we can say a little bit more about the best practices that you should apply to yourself as a sender, to your mailing, to deliver to Gmail better. And we know that there are the requirements, and the requirements must be met. But this is not the only thing that is important. We also talked about email list management, not sending emails to users that are not active or existing anymore. Honoring unsubscribe, this is important. This is going to be checked soon. So be sure to actually deactivate the users from your contact list when they unsubscribe, preferably the quickest that you can, but Gmail says that they're giving 48 hours to do it. And using sunset policy if some of your users are not active anymore, but they're still receiving emails from you. There's the risk that they may mark your emails as spam, as unwanted. So they can be, they cannot, you can just put them in a segment of your contact list that is not being sent to for a while, and then gradually trying to send more emails to them, seeing if they are interacting. If they are not interacting, if they're not opening, clicking your emails, it would be wise not to send to them emails anymore. And obviously, the unsubscribe mechanism should be compliant with Google requirements. So this should be not only a button placed in the email content, but also the one-click unsubscribe option. So what's next? What are the news? What are some other information that you should know about Gmail? So maybe Bimi is not anything new, but it is still going strong. And what is actually, what you can see on the picture is our sender name email apps, our from address, and our logo actually, and the verified sender blue mark, and how you can obtain it. It is actually the Bimi implementation. What you need is first and foremost properly authenticating your emails by SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, but DMARC must be restrictive. It must be either a quarantine policy or a reject policy. Then your logo must be trademarked, and then the VMC certificate must be bought. In the end, a certain TXT DNS record for Bimi must be added, and then your emails should be properly marked with Bimi in the recipient's inbox. What is actually new this is the news from last year. Instead of buying the VMC certificate, you can also buy a CMC certificate, and it doesn't require you to trademark your logo, but you will not see the blue mark next to the sender name saying that you're a verified sender. It is easier to obtain though. So one of the Gmail functionalities is the summary cards, and summary cards is a feature that you can see after opening your email. It is usually some interactive graphic at the top of the email content. And why is it nice to have? Because it summarizes the content of the email in an easy way to see, in an easy way to digest by the recipient. What you can see in the examples is, for example, on the right, we have a plane ticket, we have the invoice that must be paid, we have something happening, some concert, or we have the package, the order coming soon, and it gives the recipient an opportunity to familiarize themselves with the email content faster, in a better way, and their time is not wasted on reading the whole email content. And when summary cards that can be made in a schema markup language are implemented in the right way, it can actually boost the positive interaction that you get from recipients. So in an indirect way, it can also be good for your email deliverability and your credit as a sender. Google also is planning to introduce the shielded emails option, and I think Apple users may know what it is because Apple is offering it now. What a shielded email is. If you use this option in the future, you will receive a generated new alias for your email address that will not be in any way connected to your personal information. Like, for example, if your email address consists of your name and last name, it won't be visible to the person who owns the contact list that you're, for example, subscribing to. It is also a good way to better filter certain mailings in your inbox, because you can set a specific folder for the alias only. Not only it is protecting your privacy from some senders, but it is also making your inbox more tidy in a way. And if a recipient is creating a folder especially for this address, it may also cause them to have an easier way to interact with a mailing that is only coming to this certain email address. You can also see that Gmail is actually, they can suggest to the recipient that they should unsubscribe from some mailing, and they can suggest the recipient to turn on notification for some mailing. It actually depends on what we said before, either negative interaction or positive interaction. Obviously, if the recipient is not interacting at all with a mailing from a certain sender, they will get a suggestion that maybe you should unsubscribe because you're not really opening those emails, so why are you receiving them? And if somebody is interacting a lot with a certain sender's mailing, they will get a suggestion. Maybe you should turn on notifications to receive information about them quicker. Yeah, that would be useful. An important thing to say, not only in the terms of deliverability to Gmail, is the EU Accessibility Act, and it's an act. It's a new law that says that your email content should be adjusted to recipients that may have problems with, for example, some vision impairments or motoric impairments, attention deficiency, or some neurological disorders, so that it is easier for them to interact with the content of your emails. And the examples of the adjustments are, for example, better contrast in your emails, creating your email in a way so that text-to-speech mechanisms can work on it better. It can also be steering clear from a very flashy GIFs or videos that are auto-playing in your email content, and creating email content that is easy to access and interact with some keyboards for people that are impaired motorically. What you can see on this slide some helpful tools to help you to adjust your email content better for those recipients. And why should you do it? Why should you adjust? So first of all, it's a law, but obviously adjusting your email content for the recipients that are somehow impaired visually or so makes your content, it means that you will have more positive interactions. So more positive interactions indirectly makes the deliverability easier, better. And you as a sender, as a brand, are seen as a brand that can adjust to all recipients, not only those that can see well or move well. And I think this is all for today in the presentation. And now I will go to the question sections. And as for now, I can see that there are no questions actually, but we will wait maybe a couple of minutes and see if anyone has any questions. Okay, I can see that as for now there are no questions. What I wanted to say that this webinar is recorded, and the URL to download it and to listen to and watch it later is going to be available for you on a later date. So if you have any questions later, then you can also always contact us to our support at emailapps.io email address. And I see that my colleague Natalia is typing, so I will wait to see. Yes, exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. So what is left to say is thank you very much for attending today's webinar. And I hope that you learned something new today, something useful for you as an email sender. And I wish all of you great rest of the day and great sending. Goodbye.